Welcome to Make Possible Bitesize, a weekly podcast brought to you by Permutive, championing change in publishing, advertising and beyond. Each episode, we chat to an inspiring guest about their careers, their lives and how they're making change possible. Let's bite right in.
Hi everyone, I'm Glenn Baker, Senior Customer Success Manager at Permutive. Welcome to Make Possible Bitesize, a podcast series in which inspiring people share how they're championing change and making a real difference in their field. We ask 3 thought-provoking questions of our guests and we get their answers back to you in less than 10 minutes. Today on the show, I'm joined by Ben Walmsley, Commercial Director of Publishing at News UK. Hi Ben.
Hi Glenn, thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to this.
I was just going to ask you, looking forward to it. Good. So should we just start with a quick intro on who you are and what you do at News UK?
Yeah, so I'm Ben Walmsley. As you said, I'm the Commercial Director of Publishing, which is includes brands like The Sun, The Times and The Sunday Times.
Okay, cool. Let's kick off with our first Make Possible question. And I'm sure there's going to be hundreds for you to choose from, but what is the one thing that you're most proud of?
I would like to say that I'm proud to be a part of the team that we've built here at News UK, and particularly how we've evolved the business in the last few years. When I joined News UK, our digital capabilities were relatively modest. It was a small team that was in place, and in 2015, the Sun paywall came down, and at least commercially, digital wasn't a big focus. We built some success with an audience behind a paywall, but at least commercially, we weren't really set up for an ad-funded model. But after 3 years, I think we've made a huge amount of progress. We've organised our data into a platform. We've grown the digital business exponentially. We've launched a variety of successful digital products and won some industry-wide recognition for it. So last year, we were chosen as AOP sales team and operations team of the year. We're really proud of that. But I think more than that, it's the results are down to the people that we've brought together in the business and the environment and the culture that we've built. I think we constantly push, we challenge each other to drive our business, but more importantly, perhaps the wider industry forward. And when I think about that, I think the team is very proud of that in that sense. We're principled and proud of where we work, and there's a sense that we're reinventing our brands and building something for the future. So making sure that iconic brands, in the case of the Times. The first issue was over 230 years ago. Making sure that those brands are relevant for many years to come. And I think that really is the exciting part of our industry at the moment, in the sense that we've got this opportunity to reinvent something for the future at arguably what is the most critical juncture in the history of publishing. And I'd like to look back at my career at least and say that I was able to have a small part in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you said the team, actually, because well, obviously not to the listeners, but News UK is actually one of my key most favourite clients, and I've worked with the team. All through 2020, and I think one of the things that struck me most about them was how innovative they are and how innovative they want to be. So I was just going to ask you, how do you foster that kind of an environment or culture where people are encouraged to be innovative and maybe not afraid to fail? How do you achieve that?
Well, no, I think that's right. Well, thank you firstly, Glenn, for saying so. We appreciate that. I think you hit the nail on the head there, where you say you need to create an environment where people feel supported and where ideas are welcomed and given due consideration. And I think if you look at that, I point to the example within our business of the Fifth. We launched an influencer marketing agency, and that came from within our team. So Ollie Lewis, the MD of the Fifth, had this idea, took it to the board and said, I think we should launch an influencer agency. And if you think about that in the past, I don't think that's necessarily something that people would associate with a news business like ours. The ability to have an idea like that, listen to, giving credibility, someone presenting a really good, solid business case in an emerging sector like that and saying, yeah, go ahead, do it, build the business. But I think you need to create an environment where people feel comfortable to do that, where you encourage people to think laterally, and that's exactly what Ollie did there. But there are other examples of it as well. We think about our data and the way that we want to offer something different. There's the piece of work that we're doing at the moment is understanding emotion in advertising, which we think is such a critical part of advertising, and yet is often underrepresented, particularly from a data perspective. So for news publishers, really, we are emotive in terms of the relationship we have with our readership, and how do we bring that data to the fore. So I think that's another example of an idea that came within the business that's naturally something we're good at, that now we're able to build and create commercial products that are based on that spirit of innovation.
Perfect, thank you. Second question, what are you focusing on today to move forward and upward at work?
Well, today, right now, what I'm focused on is that we've recently brought our teams together to build a structure for the future. And what that means is that we don't think about ourselves as a business with platform silos anymore. If you think about our brands and how they are today, and we publish and broadcast content over a variety of platforms, and we're organising ourselves to reflect that. And I'll give you an example. We launched Times Radio at the start of the year, and how does a 200-year-old brand sound? What's the voice of that brand? So we're thinking about making that work in the sense that to move onwards and upwards, you need to take a few leaps of faith and build for a future that hasn't quite happened yet. And I think COVID has had that effect on so many businesses. There's this sense that it's fast forwarded us all a few years, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's forced us and many other companies, not just in the publishing space, to look a bit further into the future than we perhaps normally would have done. I think that's a positive. So for us, it's about making that structure work. It's not always easy to bring together lots of different groups of talent and expertise, and try and share and merge some of that thinking and talent, but that's what we're focused on. And I'd also, if I may, that we're part of the team that launched the Ozone project, and so we're focused at the moment on how we can build and expand on that. And Ozone's about creating a fairer internet, and that means an internet where the consumer has a better handle on their own data, an understanding of what it's being used for, where the advertiser gets a better deal, and where the publisher gets fairly compensated for their work, for the content they're producing. So we're working with our news colleagues and competitors and finding a way to build for the future with them.
Excellent. One final question for today's show. What's been your guiding light philosophy in making things possible?
Well, for me, I think it's been about creating an environment in which people feel confident to bring their true selves to work. If I think back over my career, I've been really lucky that I've always had great managers, great role models. But one thing I haven't always had, and maybe this is a sign of changing times, is the acceptance and confidence to not feel the need to conform with an existing stereotype of the sort of person, type of personality that succeeds in a particular organisation. I suppose, if I'm honest, there were times in my early career that I tried to adapt my personality to fit in, and I feel very fortunate now that I'm in a position to be able to lead a team. I feel really energised at the prospect of being able to create a culture where people feel that they can thrive purely on merit. There are so many critical aspects to diversity in a workplace, but the one I consider to be a guiding principle is a diversity of talent and perspective, which is often enabled by other forms of diversity. And I think if you assemble a team like that, and you create an environment in which people feel supported and people have their views heard, then you make really meaningful change possible.
100%, totally, especially in 2020. Thanks for that, Ben, and thanks for being on the show. Was that fun?
It was great. Thank you, Ben. My pleasure. Thank you for having me as always. And I hope to see you in person sometime soon.
I totally agree. That leaves me with just thanking all the listeners and viewers for tuning in to make possible Bitesize. We'll be back next week with another inspiring guest, talking about what they do to champion change, think in exciting new ways, and make a difference. Bye.
Thank you.